Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Morning Musings. My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute. Well, here it is Wednesday, and a little bit of explanation. I filmed a video for Monday morning, and I filmed that actually on Saturday, and then some things came up, and we were supposed to have family in for Christmas, you know, a nice long week and all that kind of stuff like that. Well, things came up. We traveled to Arkansas. But before I left, I put my video on processing. And I thought it would be ready there for me then to post on Monday morning. Well, unfortunately, I discovered after I got to Arkansas that something went wrong with the processing. So you didn't get my Monday video until now. So I'm not going to produce another video that is different from what I had filmed for Monday. So I'm doing a little bit of editing. The editing may not be exactly, smooth as all get out, but nonetheless, I'm posting my Monday video today. Today is Wednesday. And again, I'm filming this little intro to the video, hoping I can kind of splice the two together and everything. So this will be my only video for this week. Things as far as family are concerned are back on track. Got family in for the Christmas holidays and all that kind of stuff. But I did want to post this video. I wanted to use the video to wish you and your family a fantastic Merry Christmas, and hope and pray that everything goes smoothly, a little bit better than my, last week or so has gone. But nonetheless, okay, I do want to wish you a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'll be back with you, Lord willing, next Monday. It'll be another short week because of the New Year's. New Year's Eve is my birthday, and all birthday presents greatly appreciated. Never mind. Anyway, this is the introduction to the video that was supposed to have been posted Monday, but that did not process. So I'm posting it today. It's the only video for this week. With that, Merry Christmas, and I'll see you next week. Now, as I've mentioned to you, for the next 2 weeks, I'm not going to be producing an awful lot of videos. I had initially thought about producing only one video this week because Christmas is upon us. I've got family coming in, and I've got a big week planned, just try to kick back and enjoy a little bit, kind of rejuvenate, if you please, and then just enjoy the season, enjoy family, and what have you. So I changed my mind. I'm going to produce a video today. And as I said here doing this one, I've got one more that I'll do this week. Okay, that's tomorrow. And I thought, you know what? I'm not even going to change my shirt if I do a video for tomorrow. So if you look and if you see that I'm wearing the same shirt, same sweater tomorrow, guess what? It's just simply because I chose not to change. There is that. All right, we are continuing our study of the Olivet Discourse, and the great question, is the Olivet Discourse divided into two different subjects? Is it about the AD 70 destruction of Jerusalem, which amillennialists and postmillennialists both admit was the coming of the Lord on the clouds in power and great glory with the angels, with a shout, with a trumpet to gather the elect in that generation? That's what amillennialists and postmillennialists alike agree to. But then, of course, they tell us, well, in Mathew 24:36, Jesus changes the subject when he says, but of that day and hour. Listen, folks, that's simply not accurate. It's just simply not accurate. And all of our videos that we have produced to discuss Mathew 24:36 all the way through chapter 25 prove that beyond any shadow of a doubt. And I would suggest to you that today's video is absolutely definitive on that. And here's what I mean. We have been focused on the parable of the absent master. Matthew 25:14 and following. A master called his servants to him, gave talents to them, gave money to them, told them to occupy until he came back. After a long time, he came back. He drew his servants in. He judged them. And we're told that without any doubt whatsoever, this is the second coming of Christ. I mean, after all, it was supposed to be after a long time. And that means 2,000 years, or so we're told. This is supposedly the coming of the Lord of Acts chapter 1, 9 to 11. This same Jesus who has been taken up from you shall come in like manner as you have seen him go. That's the departure of the master, and his coming is the return of the absent master. And so, once again, all-millennialists and post-millennialists dichotomize between the coming of the Lord in AD 70, which they acknowledge and agree and admit, and the so-called end of time coming. And let me remind you that fundamental to that argument is the view, and it was stated on Facebook several times this last week, but fundamental to that view is the apostles were asking about the end of the Messianic age in Matthew 24 and verse 3. They were not asking about AD 70. They were confused, however, or they were ignorant. They wrongly conflated in their mind Jesus' prediction of the destruction of Jerusalem with the end of time. Now remember, I've written a book entitled Watching for the Parousia, were Jesus' apostles confused? I shared with you in some introductory videos on that book how the view that the apostles were confused or ignorant or simply, didn't know what they were talking about is absolutely fundamental to the view of a divided discourse. It is that presupposition, that claim, is fundamental to the futurist view and interpretation of Matthew 25:14 and following. If the apostles were not confused, if they were not wrong, if they were not ignorant, when they conflated the end of the age and the Lord's coming with the destruction of Jerusalem, listen to me, catch the power of this, then all futurist eschatologies are wrong. And let me say again, I believe that today's video will demonstrate that beyond a shadow of a doubt. Now, remember in Matthew chapter 24, verse 29 to 31, we are told, immediately after the tribulation of those days, that's the days leading up to the fall of Jerusalem, horrific, horrific days, the sun shall be darkened, the moon shall not give its light, the stars of heaven shall be shaken, the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the heavens, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory, and he shall send forth his angels with the sound of the great trumpet, and they shall gather together the elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Now, I want you to notice that little phraseology. He will send forth his angels with the sound of the great trumpet. Now, if you read the critical commentaries very much at all, and I do on a daily basis, then you will know that it is widely, almost universally admitted that when Jesus spoke of sending forth his angels with the sound of the great trumpet, he was drawing directly on Isaiah 27, verse 13. Gregory Beale, in his New Testament commentary on the use of the Old Testament, Earl Ellis, in his book, The Use of the Old Testament in the New, and any number of critical commentaries, it is admitted Jesus was drawing on Isaiah 27:13. Now, why is that important? It is important because Isaiah 24 through 28, some say just Isaiah 27, in other words, Isaiah 24 through 27, it's commonly called the little apocalypse, as I've shared with you before. And it is called that because scholars acknowledge, they understand that Jesus and his apostles quoted from those chapters, appealed to those chapters, cited those chapters over and over again in their predictions of the impending eschatological consummation. Let me say that real simply. Jesus and the New Testament writers quoted from Isaiah 24 to 27 over and over and over again as they predicted the coming of the Lord, the judgment, and the resurrection. Pardon me. Now, since Jesus was quoting from, citing, alluding to Isaiah 27:13, as he is predicting his coming in the judgment of Jerusalem, perhaps it would do us good, not perhaps, but anyway, to go back and to examine what Isaiah 27 says about the time of the sounding of the great trumpet. And here's what you need to know. The sounding of the great trumpet would be at the time of the coming of the Lord, Isaiah 26, 20 and 21, the time of the destruction of Leviathan, i.e. Satan, the great serpent. It would be at the time of salvation, that's Isaiah 27, 1, the time of salvation, Isaiah 27, verse 2, and it would be the time of the taking away of Israel's sin, quoted verbatim by Paul in Romans chapter 11, 26 and 27. So, we've got Jesus quoting from Isaiah 27, and we got Paul quoting from Isaiah 27. That's kind of significant, isn't it? So Paul quoted from Isaiah 27 in his prediction of the time of the coming of the Lord for the taking away of Israel's sin. When would that be? I've read this for you before, but let me do this again. You just have to catch the power of this. Has he, that's Yahweh, struck Israel as he struck those who struck him? Or has he been slain, has Israel been slain, according to the slaughter of those who were slain by him? In measure. Now, look, ladies and gentlemen, how do you kill somebody in measure? He's not talking about physical death. You don't kill somebody sort of, kind of, a little bit. But the Lord did strike Israel. The Lord did slay Israel in measure by sending it or him away. You contended with it. He removes it by his rough wind, and that's the nation that he's removing. In the day of the east wind, therefore by this. By what? By the sending away. By this, the iniquity of Jacob will be covered. This is the fruit of the taking away of his sin. Now watch this. Please catch the power of this one singular word. When he makes all the stones of the altar like chalk stones that are beaten to dust, wooden images and incense altars will not stand, yet the fortified city will be desolate, the habitation forsaken, left like a wilderness. Now watch this. It is talking about the time of the taking away of Israel's sin. This is the time of Israel's salvation. Wait a minute. What is the time of Israel's salvation? Well, back in Isaiah chapter 25, verse 8, 9, and 10, it's the day of the resurrection. What? That's right. The time of the taking away of Israel's sin is the time of Israel's salvation. The time of Israel's salvation is the time of the resurrection. When would be the time of the taking away of her sin? Oh, when he makes all the stones of the altar like chalk stones. Now I've got to hurry. But notice verse 11, the last part of it. Therefore the one who made them will not have mercy on them. The one who formed them will show them no favor. Now folks, this can't be talking about the church. Okay? As some amillennialists in the past have done. Okay. And it shall come to pass in that day. In what day? The day of Israel's salvation. The day of the taking away of her sin. Which is the day of the resurrection. Which is when Israel would be destroyed. The altar turned to chalkstone. In that day, the Lord will thresh from the channel of the river to the brook of Egypt, and you will be gathered one by one, O you children of Israel. So it shall be in that day, the great trumpet will be blown. They will come who are about to perish in the land of Assyria. Wait a minute. And they who are outcast in the land of Egypt. These are those, wait a minute, who have been scattered. But the scattering would be the means by which the Lord would save them. But the sounding of the great trumpet would be to gather them, to raise them from the dead. Remember, he killed them by sending them away. Now, watch this. Out of time, watch this very carefully. The return of the absent master in Mathew chapter 25, 14 and following, is the time of the coming of the Lord at the sounding of the great trumpet. 1 Corinthians 15, 51 and 52. The sounding of the last trumpet. The sound of the trumpet of 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. The Lord Jesus shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the sound of a trumpet. He shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather together the elect. So we have the coming of the Lord with the angels, sounding of the trumpet to gather the elect. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, sounding of the trumpet, resurrection. 1 Corinthians 15, sounding of the trumpet, resurrection. 1 Corinthians 15, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 is the return of the absent master of Matthew 25, 14 and following. But wait. The coming of the Lord at the sounding of the great trumpet for the resurrection is Matthew 24, verse 31, which, remember, amillennialists and postmillennialists alike say was in AD 70. Now listen, any way you want to slice it or dice it, if you agree that Matthew 24, 29 to 31 was the coming of the Lord in AD 70, you are agreeing that the resurrection of Isaiah 25 through 27 was in AD 70. Because Jesus is drawing on Isaiah 27:13 in Matthew 24, verse 31. So Jesus was anticipating the fulfillment of Isaiah 27:13 that would come in AD 70. But Isaiah 27:13 is the prediction, the prophecy of the resurrection of Isaiah 25, Isaiah 26, Isaiah 27, all of which are the resurrection of 1 Corinthians 15, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. Therefore, Matthew chapter 24, verse 31, which would be fulfilled in AD 70, would be the return of the absent master of 1 Corinthians 15, of 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, and of Matthew 25, 14, proving beyond a shadow of a doubt, ladies and gentlemen, that Matthew chapter 24, or Mathew, the Olivet Discourse, is not divided. It's not two subjects. It's about one coming of the Lord with the sound of the great trumpet to raise the dead in AD 70. Hey, don't forget, rest of December, all of January, across the board, 15% discount on any of my materials, plus free shipping on orders of $25 or more, and that's on U.S. orders only. Listen, I got to close, and I've just got to say this. And you know what? I don't think I'll make a video tomorrow. I think this is a great way to just cap this week off, start it off, and cap it off at the same time. But first of all, I want to wish you a very, very Merry Christmas. I hope you have a fantastic time with your family. Secondly, let me ask you that you please consider putting Preterist Research Institute into your budget for this next year. We really, seriously need an increase in our monthly financial support. You know, I seldom ask for financial support. But due to the ongoing COVID, due to the crazy economy, due to loss of jobs, due to retirements, due to illnesses, etc., we have lost a really significant amount of our financial support. You know, if 100 of my 5,900 supporters would begin to support our ministry by $20, $25 a month, it would help so much to alleviate our financial crunch. It wouldn't solve it, but it would help tremendously. Could I get 100, 200 of my 5,900 subscribers to support us on a monthly basis for whatever you can do? Believe you me, ladies and gentlemen, it's needed and it would be appreciated. So I appreciate you hearing my words. I hope you pray about it. Hope you think about it. I hope you'll plan for it. And again, thank you for joining me for this morning's Morning Musings. Merry Christmas to you. I'll see you next week.